Unpaid super theft. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to look at an interesting article here from ABC News where people have to deal with or discover that their superannuation has been unpaid. Now, my issue with superannuation is that, well, I've got a few. One is that it's compulsory, that the super funds don't really have to compete, you're forced to pay into them. And two, there's an intermediary between you and the fund. It's your employer. They're handling it all on your behalf. Because, Florian, it's on top of your normal wage. But to an employer, it's all the same cost base. You know, sure, they can pay it at different times. Sure, they can set it aside. But that's just another risk to the worker. You know, I'd argue, simply pay everything to the worker and then make them pay into their own super fund and let the super funds chase them up if they don't make their payments on time. I know it's going to be a bloody mess. I know it would be terrible, but it would force people to learn some financial planning. And it would be great to see super funds. It would be great to see super funds trying to, take up people from not paying their money into them. People will really realize then they're forced to save and the government thinks they're a bunch of idiots. That's what it is. So, long-term hospitality workers, victims of unpaid superannuation. And I bet this is rife. This happened to friends of mine at university, architecture graduates or students back at the time working for years for practices, and they'd never get paid. It'd come on the pay slip, then it would disappear, and then when they get fired, they realize none of it had been paid, or the business goes under, none of it had been paid. That's the thing. That's why when I was telling my staff, one of the advantages of having a super fund that you can see every time you log into your bank is that you can see it every time you log into the bank, so you can see the payments have actually gone in there. Hopefully, this is kind of going to disappear with one touch, but still, or one touch payroll, but still, guys, there's another party between you and your money. You don't even see it, and that's why they want the employers to manage it, because they don't want you to realize it. They don't want you to see it. They don't want you to have to transfer it out of your bank account into the super fund, because then people might start to get a little shitty. This is another reason why I'd like to get rid of pay-as-you-go. So then people actually have to pay their own taxes every week or every month, or it'll sting. And then, boom, Overton window shifts real quick. Anyway, when Annie Stevenson consolidated her superannuation in March 2020, she was shocked. After working various hospitality jobs for a decade, she had less than $1,200 in super. Well, shit. She should have kept her... That sucks. Friends my age who had been working for the same amount of time had between 20 and 70 grand in super, she said. Long-term hospo people were the only people with really low balances less than 2 grand. It caused a huge amount of financial and emotional distress for the 28-year-old when the pandemic hit last year. She lost her job, found out she wasn't eligible for JobKeeper, and then discovered she had almost no superannuation to withdraw as part of the COVID-19 early release scheme. I just didn't have any savings. I hadn't planned for a pandemic to happen. Our super was our safety net, she said. I ended up going to a hospital. I've been having these seizures, and this is after losing my job. This sounds terrible. I feel sorry for this poor woman. Ms. Stevenson is also worried about what it means for her long-term financial security. Well, you don't have a long-term financial security. You've got to build one now. And you've been ripped off by businesses. This is what happens, everyone, when other people are expected to take responsibility for us. But it's just so accepted now. I see that nobody has invested in your to see that nobody has invested in your future. It is just so obvious that they don't care about you. They don't respect you. It's pretty devastating, she said. What the hell is this? Do you think people give a shit about you? Seriously? In hospitality? Do you think if you're going from one job to the other, businesses don't care. Employers don't care. Hospitality is one of the dodgiest games. You need to invest in your own future. I don't understand this mindset. Is this just... What is this? How can someone think like that? Why wasn't she checking her own super right at the beginning? She didn't care enough to check herself. And now she's blaming other people, this is really sad. In many ways, this is bloody sad, guys. This is why you need to check it, guys. Younger people, you need to check it. Kerry Lever left the hospitality industry after seeing friends, family, and colleagues impacted by the non-payment of superannuation. As women, we already live in poverty, and we are far more impacted by the superannuation underpayment, she said. Well, get married, have a husband, and then work to build something together. You know, it probably should have done that earlier than 28. Anyway, my message is when you enter work, we have an agreement. My job was to run a business, take people's money, and bank it. The employer's job was to pay a small wage, including superannuation by law. Well, you should have checked it. You don't trust people blindly. Does hospitality have a particular problem? Unpaid superannuation in hospitality is not a new problem. The ABC reported on this issue in 2018 when chef Pamela said after 20 years' work as a chef, she had less than $3,000 in superannuation. How can you not check it in 20? This is the problem. People are not checking it. They don't think it's their money. They don't give a shit about it. Why aren't people checking? Okay, you should check every week, every month. And then boom, be onto it. Not 20 years. Where's the agency here of the individuals? This is the problem. Because they've set it up like this that people don't think it's their money. When it is, it's your money. You worked for it. On Monday, co-owners of iconic Melbourne music venue, the Toten Bar Open, admitted they'd not paid their staff superannuation for almost 2 years. Yeah, this is the problem. If businesses get into the shit, they just don't pay the super. They put it off. Oh, we'll pay it next quarter. We'll pay it next quarter. Oh, we'll make it up. They don't pay it because they can get away without doing it. You know, oh, that's unfair, Florian. Yeah. Well, if they had to pay it every week directly into your bank account and then you were required to deposit a certain amount of that into the super fund, then you'd know what would happen. Then you'd have people complaining, oh, I was too lazy to move it over. The super fund will then, send the coppers after you and arrest you for not payment of your super. That's the Australia we're heading. That would be the reality of it. I'd love to see that happen. People expected to pay their own, to save themselves. It's far too easy to drift out of payment terms because of cash flow pressures and far harder to correct it when it happens. John Perry and Sam Krupe told the ABC in a statement. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm sure if an employee entitlement, including super, were collected and managed by the ATO and not by businesses like pay-as-you-go is, these problems would not predominate throughout the Australian economy. Oh, come on. The owners say you still got to pay as you go anyway. The owners say there are undoubtedly systematic problems with superannuation underpayment in small businesses, and after extended lockdowns in Victoria and New South Wales, the issues will only be exacerbated. We would speculate that super compliance in hospitality businesses is likely to be a minority of the industry, they said. The Union for Hospitality Workers agrees there are systematic problems. Yeah, because the businesses are doing it. You need to get the workers doing it. But Florian, the workers won't pay. Well, there you go. Maybe they don't want to pay. But then they'll have no money for savings and they'll have to live on the shitty pension and nothing else. Well, tough. That's life. Come on. It's not that bad. You don't need much money to live. Hospo Voice Director Kamala Lord said the industry is ground zero for super theft and the problem is supercharged by insecure work. About 40% of the hospo workers we surveyed last year said they've had super stolen. We think the real number is probably quite a bit higher because it can take some time before a worker discovers an employer has been stealing their super. While retirement income may not be front of mind for young workers, Ms. Lord said unpaid superannuation early in life can condemn workers to poverty in their later years. The way compound interest works, super contributions made earlier in a worker's career generate a lot more interest than those made later in your career, she said. So missing out on those early deposits will cost young workers big time. It's likely the real figure they've had stolen down the track is tens of thousands of dollars. CEO of the Restaurant and Catering Industry Association, Wes Lambert, is unsure whether hospitality has a bigger problem with unpaid superannuation than other industries. There is no excuse for not paying entitlements, including superannuation, he said. The association advocates for educating business owners about their legal requirements, about punishing them for breaking the law. And the thing is, these are all just additional burdens for people running a business here in Australia. This is why you want to outsource. This is why you want to automate. This is why you want to reduce the amount of staff that you have to have, because all of these costs become a pain in the arse. All of these legislation changes, all of these rules changes become a pain in the arse. It gets to a point where it's not worth hiring people sometimes. Look at Macca's. Look at all their digital kiosks now, guys. Oh, I wonder why that's there. I wonder why that exists. And that's a big corporate that has crony capitalist powers. Millions of Australians are missing their super. Last year, more than 28,000 businesses reported themselves to the ATO as part of the Superannuation Guarantee Scheme amnesty, which gave employers an opportunity to pay historically unpaid super without additional administrative charges or penalties. Around $911.5 million in unpaid superannuation from between 1992 and 2018 was disclosed. More than 90% of the employers who engaged in the SG amnesty have now paid or entered into a payment plan, an ATO spokesperson said. This enabled over $796.1 million to be paid to super funds, with a further 62.3 subject to payment plans, benefiting more than 692,200 Australian employees. These back payments could be the tip of the iceberg. Analysis of ATO data from 16-17 by the industry Super Australia found 2.85 million Australians were being shortchanged on their super by a total of nearly $6 billion. So what happens when employers don't pay? Employers who owe super are required to lodge a superannuation guarantee charge statement and pay the outstanding amount, including interest and a mandatory administration fee. Bosses who do not comply can face penalties of up to 200% of what they originally owed. As of the 1st of July, Victoria, new wage theft laws make it a criminal offence to dishonestly withhold superannuation wages or other employment entitlements. Well, it already was. Employers found guilty of wage theft can now face fines of up to $218,000 or even a 10-year jail sentence. So there's another incentive to hire contractors. There's another incentive to offshore. There's another incentive to not hire people in Victoria. Okay, all of these laws that you put in place, all of these protections, it disincentivizes employment and innovation in Australia. Just remember that, okay? These laws don't impose any new requirements on businesses, Commissioner of the Wage Inspectorate Victoria, Robert Hortler, said. What they do is hold dishonest employers to account and protect vulnerable employees from exploitation. Horseboy Voice hopes the threat of jail will stamp out super theft. Workers also need a cheap, quick, and easy process for winning back stolen super. There's been money budgeted for a new court process by the Victorian government, and we look forward to it becoming a reality. Boy, Victoria is really spending the money on all these new processes and schemes when it's just racking up the debt, isn't it? Where to report if you think you haven't been paid? Employees suspect they've not been paid their full superannuation can go to the ATO website. In Victoria, you can report it to another place, the Wage Inspectorate. Wow, that doesn't sound socialist at all, does it? Doesn't sound centrally planned at all, doesn't it? Well, what's the lesson to all of this? And what is the solution, everyone? Real simple. Stop having employers paying super. Get the workers to pay super. So you get all that money and the super every paycheck, and you are required to transfer that money yourself to your super fund. What? People won't do it? What? People will be annoyed that they're forced to actually put money away by savings by the state? Tough. That's what's happening anyway. Oh, what? You don't get it? The boss won't pay it? Well, tough. Then you realize if they're not paying it. Boom, problem solved. You don't need these stupid departments. You don't need other bullshit. There you go. Done. Easy. Solution. Let's see if that actually happens. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can help us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Sign up for SelfWealth or Stake. Use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve or AussieBroadband. Buy a merch from HeiseSays. Use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint or support us via PayPal. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.